Hi there, this is David and welcome to the top 10 best modern 2D RPGs. I like 3D games as much as the next guy, but if you're anything like me, there's just something comforting about going back to the simpler times and playing a classic 2D RPG. But nowadays, those can be pretty hard to find. However, there does seem to be a renaissance of them lately, with the indie scene and with the success of those HD 2D games. So, let's go through the cream of the crop and look at some modern 2D RPGs. Number 10. Rise of the Third Power. It should come as no surprise to anybody watching that I love a good retro RPG, and this one, probably the newest on this list, is quite the gem. Set in a kind of fantasy, alternate universe 1930s Europe, at a time between the two world wars, where kingdoms are vying for control of the continent, it is great for history buffs like me, but it's also got the gameplay to back it up too. Encounters are on-screen, and the dungeons are puzzle-based, needing keys and switches to proceed. Also, while you have plenty of party members, you do level up as a team, so don't worry about somebody getting left behind. You can experiment with everyone freely. It's pretty fantastic, though I must say, if I could change one thing, it would be to get rid of the character portraits. They look so ugly, anime, and out of place. Retro games never had portraits like these. Number 9. Shadows of Adam. This game ticks off quite a few of my boxes. It's an SNES-inspired RPG with turn-based battles, along with an overworld map, and humorous banter between the characters. Also, and something that I love, is that it is short and to the point. It's not filled with a whole lot of padding. The battle system is fast-paced, while also allowing you to freely experiment with your abilities by restoring your AP after every single battle. The story follows a pair of siblings as their hometown of Adam is overrun by an infectious vine spreading across the land. It's not much, but it does get the job done. And seeing as it only lasts about 10 to 15 hours, you can beat this on a rainy weekend and just have a blast. So be sure to pick this one up on the cheap. Number 8. Cosmic Star Heroine. Quite honestly, I like all of the Zeboyd games. I remember when the indie scene first began. It was new and exciting, and one of the first big name games on the scene was Breath of Death 7, titled obviously as an homage to Breath of Fire as well as Final Fantasy VII. And while the game had nothing to do with either of those titles, it was still fun. Nowadays though, indies are a dime a dozen, so you really have to make something special in order to be noticed. And they definitely did here with this sci-fi Phantasy Star meets Chrono Trigger inspired adventure. It takes place in a futuristic landscape filled with spies, robots, and rock stars. This is a modern take on a medieval classic and a damn good one too. So if you're going to play one indie, make it this one. Number 7. Indivisible. This beautiful RPG came out of nowhere, and the hand-drawn characters and enemies remind me so much of Thousand Arms, it's just uncanny. And however good that game is, this one is right up there with it. Mixing side-scrolling action along with turn-based battles and platforming elements, it is sure to keep you on your toes, just like its inspiration, the Valkyrie Profile series. But the real fun is in the story and character development, as well as the Metroidvania kind of exploration, where you gain new tools, spells, and abilities, which open up new areas as you continue your journey. It mixes all sorts of different genres into one, and it seems like a tall order, but they filled it right in this nice tight adventure that's going to take you about 20 hours to complete. Number 6. Crosscode. Indie games are always a hit and a miss, but this one was definitely a hit! You play as like a mute spiritomancer who's sucked into a video game world, think something like .hack. But this one is much more action-orientated with a focus on platforming and puzzle solving. There's a lot going on here. As a spheromancer, you can fire orbs to stun and damage enemies, as well as hit switches and even ricochet them off the walls. Then, there's a skill tree where you can build up your hero any way that you would like. You can focus on ranged attacks, close combat, or special moves. Honestly, I didn't feel like the story was a high point or anything. It kinda just felt like it was written by some emo high schoolers. But I stayed instead for the addictive gameplay, great platforming, and gorgeous environments. Number 5. Felseal Arbiter's Mark. Final Fantasy Tactics, eat your heart out. This game does everything that Watershed game did, but I dare say that it builds upon it better. Well, except for the graphics, because let's be honest, this is some cell phone quality crap right here. But if you can look past that, and believe me, I can, everything else is fantastic. From the tight, suspenseful, gripping storyline, which thankfully does not overstay its welcome, clocking in at roughly 20 or so hours, to the fun characters that you meet, to the robust and very well-balanced job system, along with its associated skill trees. This game is just pure fun. Even the maps are inventive. No two ever look the same. So get ready to play with some elevations, elements, and terrains in this wonderful spiritual successor by the makers of Black Sigil. Number 4. The Cruel King and the Great Hero. I didn't go into this game expecting much, but I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm a sucker for a pretty kick-ass collector's edition, and this game had one on the cheap, so I thought, why not? However, rather than finding something mediocre and like baby's first RPG, I instead found a hidden gem that was really quite charming, adorable, and a ton of fun. You explore the world in a side-scrolling manner, almost kind of like Child of Light, yet you participate in random turn-based Paper Mario-type battles. In fact, the entire game has a very thousand-year door feel to it. So if you're a fan of those games, try out this new offering by NIS, because it's going to make you feel right at home. Number 3. Triangle Strategy. Who says that strategy RPGs have to be left out of the fun? This Octopath-inspired tactical RPG is just as 2D as anything else on this list. Taking inspiration from Fire Emblem as well as Final Fantasy Tactics, here choices actually matter, and multiple playthroughs are not only encouraged, but practically required if you really want to see how the story officially unfolds, as well as collect all the hidden characters locked behind the different routes. It may seem daunting to play through this so many times, but it's rewarding, and it's painless to do so because the New Game Plus actually lets you skip cutscenes, fast-forward battles, and it also shows you exactly how each choice is going to affect your score. Number 2. Octopath Traveler. Here is one game that needs no introduction. It single-handedly put new life into the stagnant 2D RPG genre. I mean, say what you will about its gameplay or its story, because it is divisive to say the least. But I can think that we can all at least agree that the graphics are stunning, and it showcased to the world that old-school 2D RPG gaming is not dead. It can thrive and flourish in this new, modern age. I mean, it's ushering in an entire wave of games emulating its style, from Triangle Strategy, to the upcoming Live Alive Remastered, to even Dragon Quest Trilogy Remastered. For the 2 people here who haven't played it, it's an almost saga game in a sense that you can choose from one of 8 heroes and adventure around the world with them, only finishing when you complete all of their quests. And finally, number 1, Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition. I bought this game when it first came out, and back then it was only available in 3D. However, a few years later, the Definitive Edition came out, which gave you access to additional content, but also a 2D mode. And let me just say, this is a game changer. It is so faithful to it that I felt like I was back in high school, playing my favorite SNES RPGs. And the little world map in the corner reminded me so much of the tile set of Dragon Quest IV. It's just such a great throwback. I love it. Also, I just have to say this too. What might take you 5 hours to accomplish in the 3D version's only going to take you an hour in the 2D version. I felt like I was just flying through this magnificent quest. Adding 2D modes to 3D games is something simple, yet something so amazing. I can't believe that more developers don't do it, and I cannot wait for more. Well, that's it for the top 10 best modern 2D RPGs. What are your favorite modern 2D RPGs? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and what I do here on the channel, please consider supporting me over on Patreon, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or join the Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the video description. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.